Okay, FREEZE64 and Commodore 64 users and readers and subscribers. Here is issue 61 FREEZE64, which has the fabulous Pig Quest on the front cover and this gorgeous artwork by Morissette, who was the graphic artist for the game. So originally the game cover was going to be Electroglide, because the interview with Adam Billiard is in this particular issue, and I interviewed Adam, I think it was about 2 years ago now, and even at that point 2 years ago I thought that Electroglide was going to be the cover art, and it always was going to be until a Pig Quest was released, and then I started to think maybe I could have that as the cover feature. And also I saw a picture that Morissette did when they got to 1,500 copies sold of a Pig Quest. He put 1,500 underneath the pig, or the pig on top of 1,500, and I thought, if we take the 1,500 out and put FREEZE64 there, that will look like a great piece of artwork for a cover. And literally, I think within an hour of me thinking about it, I got a hold of Tony and Morissette, and they both thought it would be a great idea. Morissette said, leave it with me, and that's what he produced, and it's absolutely fantastic. So anyway, here's the issue. As always, the load page, which is the contents page, and there's Adam Billiard, the programmer who created Electroglide for English software, who we interview in this particular issue. But you'll see dotted around this issue there's also a load of pigs and also graphics from a Pig Quest as we go along. Then there's the found page, which is the kind of welcome page, and then we're straight into a Pig Quest. What can I say about this? So when I had the idea of having this as the front cover image, I then started to think about how I could present the actual game itself within FREEZE64 without going over the top with a review. I didn't want to really review the game. I wanted to feature it more than review it, because we all know it's a fantastic game, but it's just got such gorgeous graphics, and I had to use that throughout. And obviously, you know, being a pig game, it's going to get a FREEZE64 Sizzler. And just for those of you out there that don't know, that's the top accolade that you can receive from FREEZE64. There's nothing more. There's no gold medal. The FREEZE64 Sizzler is what says this game is bloody brilliant. And if it's not so great, but still good, it gets a FREEZE64 thumbs up. But that's a Sizzler, definitely a Sizzler. So obviously, being in touch with Tony and Morissette, Morissette's real name is Alan Jensen, I thought I could interview them. So I asked them, I asked Tony, and Tony agreed. I didn't ask Morissette because I'd already had a lot of information from Tony, and if I did take any more, it will probably fill up the whole issue. Anyway, so it's all questions all about the making of the game, why they picked a pig, certain features, how were they produced, how were the bitmap screens produced and programmed and drawn, designed, how did they get fit into the code, and as you can see, like I said, dotted throughout, you've got these Pig Quest graphics. Then we have some more a Pig Quest. We've got the secret squirrel, so some of the secret rooms and secret elements within a Pig Quest, the game. There's more to feature, but that will come in a future secret squirrel. And then there's making of Electroglide with Adam Billiard, so he's in our developers den for this issue. He also produced some games for the Atari 8-bit and also the Atari ST. So it was a great interview with Adam. He's a really lovely guy. And there's the Electroglide covers, the Mastertronic version, which was released in the US, and then also obviously the UK version, which also had the Atari version of the game on the other side of the tape. Some screenshots there, the Mastertronic loading screen version, And then there's Spy versus Spy there, which Adam mentions as one of his favourite games, and it's going to be our cover feature for the next issue. Then we're on to a brand new feature from our very own Julian Rignall. It's called Crapback. Julian and I went through quite a few ideas with what he should write after his Zapback column, and he said one of his ideas, or we eventually decided on this Crapback. So what it is looking back at the games that were reviewed in Zap64, starting from issue 1, but the games that were scored low, and that are games that are quirky and not particularly great, but we felt needed a mention. And just jokingly, I said, why don't we call because his previous feature was called Zapback, I said, why don't we call it Crapback? And he liked that idea and he agreed, and then obviously I did the font there in crap. So here's the Crapback feature, which people are already enjoying, which is great to hear and great to see. So we've got, what games have we got? I didn't mention the games, did I? We've got Buck Rogers, Mama Llama, Web Dimension, and Master of the Lamps. Oh, and Shades as well. Then this was a final feature that I produced for this issue. I had 2 pages left, and I'd just seen this. Oh, that was my text alert. I've just seen this fabulous demo, Next Level, which featured 100 games, 100 Commodore 64 games, and they're actually moving. You have to see the demo to believe it, because it's crazy. Anyway, I wrote something about that. Then we have the Mouldy Cupboard, which features Mr. Whiz from Superior Software. Game came out in 1984, and it's actually a Mr. Do game, which I'd completely forgotten about. It wasn't until I got it out of the Mouldy Cupboard and started playing it, I thought, oh my gosh, I remember it now. And then there's our finale, Diary of a Game, our development diary of Tran by the great Steve Collins. And it's our final piece. And there's Steve there. So Steve has finished his development diary for Tran, and in our next issue we start a brand new development diary with Carl Hornell, who produced a load of games for players back in the 80s, and he is going to do his development diary for his game Inbred, which he released earlier, was it this year or the end of last year? And then we have an advert on the back of the page, and that came with one of these lovely glossy postcards, which on one side has our cover image for issue 54 of FREEZE64 and our cover image of FREEZE64 issue 6. But we may use this cover image again, or a version of it, and it will be in colour, and it will be in a later issue of FREEZE64, because I've now interviewed Martin Ellis, who programmed Phantom of the Asteroids. I couldn't get a hold of him when I first spoke about the game in issue 6, but I think about a year ago I got hold of Martin and we did an interview, and we're going to be talking about Phantoms of the Asteroid. So there you go, that's issue 61 of FREEZE64. Still plenty of copies left in stock. If you want to treat yourself, it's freeze64.com.